One of the most highly anticipated seasons of the entire year for anybody who is a big film watcher is the summer movie blockbuster extravaganza. Now, for anybody who has highly anticipated films that is on their anticipation list between the months of, I don't know, June, July, August, sometimes September, sometimes May, depends who you're asking, it depends who you're talking to, they're going to have specific films that's going to come out through those 3 months mainly. Now the thing is that I can stand here and I can mention a lot of films that highly registered and gave that big summer blockbuster vibe to almost anybody that just defines it. However, though, this is one of those movies that helped give this particular event a definition. You know, in the year 1916, there actually was a real life shark attack that actually happened. It transpired in New Jersey where there was a particular shark that was in the water. I can't remember exactly what the name of the breed was, but it was a large ass fucking fish that was in there. It wasn't a great white. I don't think it was a hammerhead, but it was a big ass fucking shark. So basically, it was swimming through the fucking sewage, ended up in the ravine, and a young boy ended up getting attacked.
Oh,
And there ended up being a fisherman who started seeing this attack that transpired. And lo and behold, the poor fisherman, he tried his best to save the young boy's life, but the fisherman ended up getting attacked and he was unfortunately met his demise too. But they were lucky enough to get the shark.
did not know that.
Thus, many years later, there ended up being a movie that Steven Spielberg wanted to bring to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
He had three names of Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, and Robert Shaw. Three really good names that he decided to pick for this particular movie. You have one guy who was a fucking cop. You have one guy who is a shark expert in terms of hunting. And you have another guy who is a shark expert, but in terms of knowledge and books.
Mm-hmm. The oceanologist, I believe that's what they coined it.
I believe that is correct right there. So, to my understanding, and from what I know, is that it was a beautiful, simple, nice day out there in the fucking beach.
And Amity.
It was sunny. It was quiet. It was content. Then all of a sudden, some music started playing. Okay, nothing wrong with that for a little bit. Then all of a sudden, the music started growing and growing and growing and growing and growing.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden, this fucking poor woman ends up going missing. Turns out she got fucking annihilated and obliterated by a shark.
By the great white.
Specifically, it was a great white shark.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, they thought, okay, she ended up going missing. But the thing is that later on, more attacks kept happening where a young boy ends up meeting his demise. More people end up getting bit, attacked, and the fucking ravine is just going absolutely chaotic. Once it was pointed out, there was a mission to be abroad. That is to kill the great white.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That is literally what the story of what Jaws is all about. It's a simple, straight to the point fucking story, but it has a huge outcome, a huge particular impact as the film progresses.
Yeah. I mean, oh my God. The words that I can say about this particular Spielberg flick have been, to say echoed, and have been already been said by many other people. I mean, I can't really add onto what others have been saying about this flick.
Well, there's
other than, well, no, yes. But what I can say is this. Well, some may say that Jurassic Park or E.T., Saving Private Ryan Schindler's List might be their favorite Spielberg film, and don't get me wrong, are those among his best ones? Yes, but for me personally, this goddamn movie to me is his masterpiece, Jaws. It's a movie that when I saw it as, I want to say as about a 7 or 8-year-old kid, I was staying at my godmother's place at the time being, watched the movie on VHS. The movie scared me shitless so much, I couldn't go swim in her fucking pool. I looked in the deep end, it was dark, shot right out of the pool, and I just didn't do it. That is how much this movie scared me as a kid. And when I rewatched it in 2013, many years later, I was in a film, I think it was a film history class. It was either this or I think it was Taxi Driver. And everybody was like, let's watch Jaws, even though I wouldn't have minded watching Taxi Driver instead, but chose Jaws. I couldn't sleep that night because of Jaws. This movie has a power. It has this, it gets its teeth in you. Total pun there, but totally intended right there. And it's a movie that I think is one of the greatest films ever made. It's the film that defined the term the summer blockbuster. It's a pioneer for a lot of things, and I think this was Spielberg's third film. This was after Duel, after Sugarland Express, which I actually have not seen Sugarland Express, by the way. And Spielberg himself said that when he was reading the book, where he was writing a script, he said, "I've made this movie before. It's called Duel, but this is kind of a sequel to that. I want to make this movie." And he even said, the producers even said that if they had reread the book, they would have never have made this a movie. Which is fucking crazy just to think that. I mean,
that someone like Spielberg was a very literature connoisseur.
Yeah.
And that's a big.
Oh my god. And to this day, there's many sequences I can talk about this movie, but the opening sequence with the girl and that drunk guy trying to get with her, and when she runs out to the sea.
Something was going on at first, but then you realize exactly that it's not necessarily what you think it's going to be. And the thing is that if there's one thing that this movie really does really well, is that it catches you off guard.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Like,
I mean,
it really catches you off guard, and you think to yourself, okay, it's just going to be a regular shark that's attacking, but no, it's not like any other shark that's fucking biting you in the nuts. It's a fucking great white shark. Those sharks, if you just ever look up the history or even see in general what a great white shark actually looks like, those sons of bitches are terrifying.
Oh no, they are they're beasts in their own.
If not, they are the most powerful shark in the entire fucking ocean, if I'm correct.
I will never forget the first time I saw the opening scene of Jaws, and it's still a scene. Hearing Chrissy's screams, I still get chills hearing everything. How John Williams' score builds up, and no joke, before we started recording this thing, I was just watching behind the scenes interviews with all the cast and Spielberg, and how they accomplished the scene. I mean, of course, they didn't show any like actual footage, like B-roll, like it could only hear what they were describing as filming. These guys are goddamn geniuses. I don't know how they pulled it off in the 70s, but wow. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy. And so this day, the boy in the fucking raft.
That's when I was watching that over again, I was thinking to myself, fucking hell, he really went balls showing the amount of
for a PG movie, dude. Oh my god.
He literally went into a lot of details showing exactly that particular attack, especially for the age that was being shown. It was really amazing that Spielberg really wanted to bring that real life factor. And that's the thing about this movie that I really admire, is that you really do believe in the story, because even though, like I said, it was based off a real life event, but you actually are believing a real life situation that could have literally happened again in real life. But instead of it being a smaller shark, a fucking great white, and they literally, you got three men who are doing whatever they can to try and get this fucking shark dead.
And I love how their personalities intertwine. Roy Scheider was Chief Brody, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Not only that, though, his character development as the film
was great. was
incredible.
great.
The thing is that he started off as a guy where, I mean, sure, he's playing as a cop. He's
Yeah.
specifically given the role of watching the beach, making sure everybody's okay. There's no bullshit going on and all that other stuff. But the thing is that once he finds out about the shark attack, he has to go into and find himself a proper man who knows exactly about sharks in terms of the knowledge and study, and that's where Richard Dreyfuss comes in. Matt Hooper.
Yeah, Richard Dreyfuss is terrific, and how his person intertwines, and then you got fucking, Robert Shaw as Quint, and his introduction scene, I think, is one of the greatest introductions I've ever seen.
He literally came out of the fucking shadows, just talking about this fucking shark. The thing is that nobody wanted to deal with the shark, and the thing is, a lot of people didn't even believe in this bullshit. Oh, it's just made up, or pretend and all that stuff. No, it wasn't bullshit. Then once Quint came in to explain about his experiences with sharks, that he can handle this shark that is infesting the waters, give him the proper pay, and boom, he'll be given the actual job. So him, Brody, and Hooper, literally, they get together, they talk about what their plan is. And the thing is that Hooper, what I liked about Dreyfuss is that his particular character, not only is he very well spoken, well educated, but he literally knew what the fuck he was talking about. Even if he didn't believe his bullshit whatsoever, Hooper knew what the fuck was going on, what he was talking about, because the thing is that, it's like mentioned, they were all dealing with a great white who was who was a fucking beast.
And I mean, and here's the thing as well, if there's something that I absolutely love about, I mean, I love everything about Jaws. Let's just be real right there. I'm just gonna come out right out the gate and say that this is one of my favorite fucking movies, period.
Oh, I think that was awesome.
But there's something that I think that still holds up to this day, besides everything else, is how Spielberg did the overall approach, because originally they did have a mechanical shark, and the thing malfunctioned throughout the shoot, and then he decided, you know what, I'm gonna go for an approach where we barely see the fucking shark, and that is when the Hitchcockian approach comes in, where that's where the score literally is Jaws. That's all you have to know about it.
And the thing is that with him barely using the shark, where he's adding that element of suspense, where you see the beast actually coming out of the water to inflict the carnage that he was, he just let the music do more of the talking for himself, adding that element of suspense to that intense vulnerability that was brought upon. Now, the thing is that Brody himself, sure, you can talk about Robert Shaw, you can talk about Richard Dreyfuss, but fucking Roy Scheider, for him,
Roy Scheider is incredible.
His fucking performance in this film, he literally started off as a guy you might think, that you're thinking he's probably not going to really do much at all. But the thing is that for someone like him, who has bad vision, hardly has had time to basically shoot his gun or whatever it was, and for him to be the guy to fucking kill the beast himself really showed how much of a badass he was. And plus the fascinating line he said, "Smile, you son of a bitch," and the boom.
Dude, rewatching that finale,
fantastic.
It's still one of my favorite finales I have ever seen. I mean, again,
you're rooting for the fucking hero to win.
Yeah.
And got the more and more suspense. The fact that Hooper, he was literally hiding in the fucking ocean, where he was away from the goddamn shark. Where he was hiding, like, that was a lucky ass spot. Fucking Shaw, you saw what happened, and he got
and that shark could easily have come back for him. Easily could have, but no, it was focusing on,
and the fact that Brody was literally the only one left, and the fucking shark was literally on his goddamn ass. And the fact that he had the rifle, the fucking tank of that, what was it? It was an oxygen tank or whatever it was. I think it was an oxygen tank.
Compressed oxygen.
It was a compressed oxygen tank, and the thing is that Shaw said you got to be careful with one of those tanks. If you're not careful, they can blow up. That right there was a foreshadow.
It was, and
that was a really nice little small detail. And the thing is that small details is help what impact the movie. And for that being a detail that was very minor, that you wouldn't think much of, that was going to play a factor later on, says a lot right there of what Steven Spielberg was bringing. To pay attention to the littlest things that can stand out.
And after I watched it for the first time, I think when I got it on DVD, it was DVD. I don't know about you, but for some reason, the scene that I kept going back to was when the orca is finally starting to sink. Joss comes right in, and that is when Quinn's eaten alive. I kept rewatched that scene so many times. I
I
don't know
watched
why.
that. The reason why I watched that scene because you got to look at it like this though. This was the guy that you were made to believe was going to be the
The
hero.
killer Stark, he was,
His
yeah.
experience of, I mean, he in his fucking shack there, we had all the bones of the jaws from various sharks that he's
Mhm.
killed. Here's the thing though, he's never hunted a great white before.
No, not like this.
And the thing
Not
is
like
that
this.
Hooper kept warning him that he didn't know what the fuck he was getting into. Even with all the knowledge and experience he had,
Yeah.
he has never dealt with a great white beast like this.
Mm-mm.
And the thing is that for everything that Quint was trying to do in order to try and kill the beast, he just didn't have the right fucking tools.
No, he didn't.
The goddamn shark had to be blown up.
Oh, like, and always every time I see this movie, seeing the remains is sinking into the
Oh,
abyss,
yeah,
and
it's fast.
you hear the signs of dinosaurs as and it's going right down. This is I don't know how Spielberg pulled this. I think he was like in his mid-20s when he was doing this movie. I don't know how the hell he pulled this off. And also, fun fact for you, um, he actually did not show up to direct the final day of shooting because he was under the belief that if he did, the crew members were going to break him. They're going to prank him by throwing him into the water. So it's been a tradition for Spielberg, as far as I can remember, for him to actually not show up on the final days of his shooting for movies.
Oh, there
Yeah,
we go.
he didn't show up, and I don't know how the hell, I don't know what the final shot was, but it had to have been something relatively simple for him to not show up.
I'm going to read this quote here briefly
Mm,
about what somebody said about this film, and I'm going to say exactly what this person said.
mm.
And I quote, forever changing the course of history for kickstarting mainstream summer blockbuster films. End quote.
Yeah, yeah. This was the movie that really, to put in simple terms, it changed the game, not just for movies, some are blockbusters. It literally pioneered and coined the term summer blockbusters.
And here's the thing about this movie that I really admire is that even though it necessarily wasn't in that particular genre, if you look at it,
Mm.
that it kind of was a horror thriller.
Oh no, it absolutely is. Jaws for me is in my top 3 favorite horror films, right behind The Shining and The Exorcist, and I still get people going like, "Wait, Jaws is a horror film?" I was like, "It absolutely is a
Yeah,
horror
I mean the
film."
fucking horrors of being in the goddamn ocean, all of a sudden a
Yeah.
fucking shark bites your leg off. Of course, that's horror. It's
Yeah,
for everybody to witness.
I mean, sure, the film was a horror film, it's a thriller, it's a summer film, and in some ways, it's an
There's all
action movie in a certain
got
way,
all sorts of things in this
but
fucking film.
it's what they call in the film industry a 4-quadrant film that applies to pretty much everybody. It applies to kids, even though it can be kinda scary for kids. It works for adults, it works for the elderly, it literally works for, that perfect film to go watch in the '70s about these guys going to try and kill a great white shark. And
Yeah.
my God, I could by the way, if I could go back in time to watch the premiere of this movie unfold and see just the reactions and when the shark blew up, I would pay top dollar to see that
Uh,
premiere right now.
that to me is just an easily satisfying scene.
Oh yeah. I mean, the entire movie. I mean, the entire film. You have a lot of despair knowing that the shark attacks have kept happening, and
And nothing
finally,
is done about it. Even the fucking mayor didn't believe they should.
no, the mayor, like, because the mayor only cared about money. That's all he wanted because
Of
he
course,
want
that's how those corrupts are.
yeah, all he wanted was this for the summer to draw because the 4th of July stuff. I mean, because Amity was a beach town, it's a summer town that people would go to and go to the beach. And as long as people were in the water enjoying themselves, the mayor didn't really care. But finally, it took him that sequence where Brody's kid could have died for him to
Yeah,
say,
but they got him out of the water, and he was basically slapjawed right there.
yeah. He was just going like, yeah, my kids were in there. I was like, oh, now you fucking understand this.
Yeah, it was really fucking serious. So
I'm
overall, about this goddamn movie, it's a fucking 2 out of 4 to
oh
watch.
yeah.
It is a movie that has, like I said, a simple story. It goes a long
Hmm.
way. It's got 3 big names who play significant key roles. You got one particular character who was made to look like the hero, but ends up not being the hero. And then you got the
Yeah.
guy who you weren't expecting much of, ended up being the hero and the ultimate badass. The character study progression right then and there of
Mm.
who you were going to support later on once it was down to the last man. It was all or nothing. The animatronics of the fucking shark itself, the music playing, the
Mhm.
actual factor of the shark having that POV perspective from the shark's view going into grabbing his victims, the goddamn scenery itself, where how it starts off, where it takes you off guard and just goes into more and more carnage happening, to where it's just like I have nothing else to do. You got to go out there and fucking kill this fucking animal and stop the chaos from happening. It is a fucking phenomenal movie. It really is. And I don't really need to say it. There you go. Simple.
It's a movie that no matter how many times I see it, and I've seen this movie through the decades of my life, starting when it was either 6 or 7 years old, and now it's a 31-year-old. It's a film that holds up beautifully over time, whether it's how Spielberg approached directing, all the performances, the horror aspects, the thriller, the drama, all the character introductions, John Williams' score. That is, I mean, of course, I mean, John Williams has composed some of the greatest music ever. I mean, I can't say this is his best score because, I mean, come on, let's his score for Indiana Jones. I mean, come on, like there's a lot of things I could pull up, but how this movie builds and builds and builds to me one of the greatest films, one of the greatest conclusions I have ever seen. And again, I'll repeat the statement. I know a lot of people may consider other Spielberg films their masterpieces for him. To me, this is his masterpiece, and for me, this is my easy 5 out of 5 or 6 out of 5 score.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, I mean, you could say really either way, but it's a film that I could gush about for hours upon end, hours upon hours. I adore this film to no end. It's my favorite Spielberg film. I, it's as I say, what a picture! It's cinema. Enough said.
Well, there you go. Well,
Hmm.
ladies and gentlemen, that's going to have to do it for this little talk about Jaws. Let me know down below in the comments about your take on this film. And with that being said, ciao for now.